Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I did some homework since our class yesterday. For those of you that weren't with our class yesterday, there was a question that asked. Ramananda Roy had made some statement about Rupa Goswami, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied about Rupa and Sanatan. So I'm going to read the context, because her question was, what was it that Sanatan Goswami had done that prompted Ramananda Roy to say what Ramananda Roy said? So, Antya Leela, Chapter 1. So the scene is Rupa Goswami has been reluctantly, he was invited to share with the devotees, particularly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy and the other assembled devotees. We heard you writing a drama. Could you share with us the drama, contents of the drama? He's shy. He wants to sit at a distance. Finally, they got him to speak something from the drama. So he's reading or reciting from Lalita Madhava. Lalita Madhava is Krishna's pastimes, and there's Vidagdha Madhava, Lalita Madhava. So, starting with text 165 and several verses. I'm just going to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita. What happened? What? I beg your pardon?
It's marked with a sticker.
Marked with a sticker, yes. But I may have given you the wrong numbers. You marked with a sticker the numbers that I gave you, but I think I gave you the wrong numbers. Here it is. Okay. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in this section, there's verse after verse after verse. Ramananda Roy is requesting, please recite, please recite, please recite. I'll just read. From Vidagdha Madhava, text 164. The transcendental vibration of Krishna's flute blocked the movements of the rain clouds, struck the Gandharvas full of wonder, and agitated the meditation of great saintly persons like Sanaka and Sanandana. It created wonder in Lord Brahma, wrought intense curiosity that agitated the mind of Bali Maharaj, who was otherwise firmly fixed, made Maharaj Ananta, the carrier of the planets, whirl around and penetrated the strong coverings of the universe. Thus the sound of the flute in the hands of Krishna created a wonderful situation, from Vidagdha Madhava, spoken by Madhumangala. That was 164. 165. Vidagdha Madhava, spoken by Purnamasi. The beauty of Krishna's eyes surpasses the beauty of white lotus flowers. His yellow garments surpass the brilliance of fresh decorations of kumkum. His ornaments are selected forest flowers, subdue the hankering of the best of garments, and his bodily beauty possesses mind-attracting splendor, greater than that of the jewels known as Marakata Mani, or emeralds. That was Vidagdha Madhava. And here's from Lalita Madhava. Oh, most beautiful friend, please accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is standing before you full of transcendental bliss. The borders of his eyes roam from side to side, and his eyebrows move slowly like bumblebees on his lotus-like face. Standing with his right foot placed below the knee of his left leg, the middle of his body curved in 3 places, and his neck gracefully tilted to the side. He takes his flute to his pursed lips and moves his fingers upon it here and there. Next. This is spoken by Radharani to Lalita. Oh, beautiful-faced one, who is this creative person standing before us with the sharp chisels of his loving glances? He is splitting the hard stones of many women's devotion to their husbands, and with the luster of his body surpassing the brilliance of countless emeralds, he is simultaneously constructing private meeting places for his pastimes. Now spoken to from Lalita to Radharani, from Lalita Madhava. My dear friend, this newly youthful Lord Sri Krishna, the moon in the family of Nanda Maharaj, is so beautiful that he defies the beauty of clusters of valuable jewels. Oh, glories to the vibration of his flute, for it cunningly breaks the patience of chaste ladies by loosening their belts and tight dresses. Purnamasi says, Vidagdha Madhava, moving back and forth. The beauty of Srimati Radharani's eyes forcibly devours the beauty of newly grown blue lotus flowers, and the beauty of her face surpasses that of an entire forest of fully blossomed lotuses. Her bodily luster seems to place even gold into a painful situation. Thus, the wonderful, unprecedented beauty of Srimati Radharani is awakening in Vrindavan. From Vidagdha Madhava, spoken by Krishna to Madhumangal. Although the effulgence of the moon is brilliant initially at night, in the daytime it fades away. Similarly, although the lotus is beautiful during the daytime, at night it closes. But, oh my friend, the face of my most dear Srimati Radharani is always bright and beautiful, both day and night. Therefore, to what can her face be compared? Etc. Ramananda Roy. Having heard these verses recited by Rupa Goswami, Srila Ramananda Roy said, your poetic expressions are like a continuous shower of nectar. Kindly let me hear the introductory portion of the second drama, Srila Rupa Goswami said, in your presence, which is just like brilliant sunshine, I'm as insignificant as the light of a glowworm. It is even impudent for me to open my mouth before you. Then he recited from Lalita Madhava, the first act of Act 1, first verse of Act 1, Lalita Madhava. The beautiful moonlight glories of Mukunda give distress to the lotus-like faces of the wives of the demons, and to their raised breasts, which are like gleaming Chakravaka birds. Those glories, however, are pleasing to all his devotees, who are like Chakora birds. May those glories forever give pleasure to you all. That's the introductory verse. When Ramananda Roy further inquired about the second introductory verse, Srila Rupa Goswami was somewhat hesitant, but nevertheless began to recite. The moon-like, this is the third verse, not the second verse, of Lalita Madhava Act 1. The moon-like Supreme Personality Godhead, who is known as the son of Mother Sachi, has now appeared on earth to spread devotional love of himself. He is the emperor of the Brahmana community. He can drive away all the darkness of ignorance and control the mind of everyone in the world. May that rising moon bestow upon us all good fortune. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was inwardly greatly pleased, when he heard this verse externally, he spoke as if angry. Your exalted poetic descriptions of the mellows of Lord Krishna's pastimes are like an ocean of nectar. But why have you put a false prayer about me? It is like a drop of detestable alkali. Ramananda Roy said, it is not alkali at all. It is a particle of camphor he has put into the nectar of his exalted poetic expression. Mahaprabhu said, my dear Ramananda Roy, you are jubilant at hearing these poetic expressions, but I am ashamed to hear them, for people in general will joke about the subject of this verse. Ramananda Roy said, instead of joking, people in general will feel great pleasure in hearing such poetry, for the initial remembrance of the worshipable deity invokes good fortune. So Ramananda Roy goes back to Rupa Goswami. By which subdivision of style do the players enter? So this is like technical dramatic rules in composition of drama, because it's a drama. Rupa Goswami then began to speak specifically about this subject. He quotes, verse from Lalita Madhava, Act 1, verse 11. While dancing on the stage, after having killed the ruler of uncivilized men, Kamsa, Lord Krishna, master of all arts, will at the proper time accept the hand of Srimati Radharani, who is qualified with all transcendental attributes. This introduction is technically called Udghatyaka, and the whole scene is called Vitti. You are so expert in dramatic expression that each of my statements before you is like a wave from an ocean of impudence. To explain an unclear word, men generally join it with other words. Such an attempt is called Udghatyaka. Like, besides poetic expression, there's rules of drama. When Ramananda Roy requested Srila Rupa Goswami to speak further about various portions of the play, Rupa Goswami briefly quoted from Lalita Madhava. This is spoken by Purnamasi with Tugargi. The dust from cows and calves on the road create a kind of darkness indicating that Krishna is returning home from the pasture. Also, the darkness of evening provokes the gopis to meet Krishna. Thus, the pastimes of Krishna and the gopis are covered by a kind of transcendental darkness and are therefore impossible for ordinary scholars of the Vedas to see. That's Act 1 of Lalita Madhava, text 23. And then text 24. May the sweet sound of Lord Krishna's flute, his authorized messenger, be glorified, for it expertly releases Srimati Radharani from her shyness and attracts her from her home to the forest. Act 2, Lalita Madhava. My dear friend, who is this fearless young man? He is as bright as a lightning cloud, and he wanders in his pastimes like a maddened elephant. From where has he come to Vrindavan? Alas, by his restless movements and attractive glances, he is plundering from the vault of my heart the treasure of my patience. Radharani spoken to Lalita. Same chapter 2, text 10, the verse before the previous one. Srimati Radharani is the Ganges, in which the elephant of my mind enjoys pastime. She is the shining of the full autumn moon for the chakora birds of my eyes. She is the dazzling ornament, the height and beautiful arrangement of stars on the border of the sky of my chest. Krishna speaking about Radharani. Now, today, I have gained Radharani because of this highly elevated state of my mind. After hearing this, Ramananda Roy submitted at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the super excellence of Srila Rupa Goswami's poetic expression and began to praise it as if he had thousands of mouths. Ramananda Roy said, "This is not a poetic presentation. It is a continuous shower of nectar. Indeed, it is the essence of all ultimate realizations appearing in the form of plays. The wonderful descriptions of Rupa Goswami are superb arrangements to express loving affairs. Hearing them will plunge the heart and ears of everyone into a whirlpool of transcendental bliss. What is the use of a bowman's arrow or a poet's poetry if they penetrate the heart but do not cause the head to spin? Without your mercy, such poetic expressions would be impossible for an ordinary living being to write. My guess is that you have given him the power." Now comes reference from yesterday. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I met Srila Rupa Goswami at Prayag. We discussed. He attracted and satisfied me because of his qualities. Now, they met before at Ramakeli, but they reunited at Prayag and spent 10 days. And then he sent him to Vrindavan. And then he went from there to Puri after a year. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praised the metaphors and other literary ornaments of Sri Rupa Goswami's transcendental poetry. Without such poetic attributes, he said, there's no possibility of preaching transcendental mellows. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested all his personal associates to bless Rupa Goswami so that he might continuously describe the pastimes of Vrindavan, which are full of emotional love of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Srila Rupa Goswami's elder brother, this is yesterday, whose name is Sanatana Goswami, is such a wise and learned scholar that no one is equal to him. Sanatana Goswami's renunciation of material connections is just like yours. Humility, renunciation, and exalted learning exist in him simultaneously. I empowered both of these brothers to go to Vrindavan to expand the literature of bhakti. Ramananda Roy said, "My Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you like, you can even cause a wooden doll to dance. I see that the truths regarding transcendental mellows that you expounded through my mouth are all explained in the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami. Because of your causeless mercy towards your devotees, you want to describe the transcendental pastimes in Vrindavan. Anyone empowered to do this can bring the entire world under your influence." Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Rupa Goswami and asked him to offer prayers at the lotus feet of all the devotees present. Advaita Acharya, Nityananda, etc., etc. So that's the context. The question she asks is, what was it that prompted Lord Chaitanya to say this particular appreciation, glorification of Sanatana Goswami? So there's like an expanded answer. My memory wasn't clear, and now so I went and checked, and it's not a specific event. It's just in connection to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami being directly empowered by Lord Chaitanya to do what they did, to write, reside in Vrindavan, expand the glories of Vrindavan. Pretty elevated, huh? That's a nice way to begin. Some of you were not with us yesterday, and just give a little recap. It's going to be a little easier because yesterday evening there were two people that it was the first time they had been with devotees. And so this is not the same audience. The brahmacharis aren't here, correct? Okay, great. Just want to connect with the, not great that they're not here, but just I want to connect with the audience. So Rupa and Sanatana Goswami amongst the 6 Goswamis, most prominent, but then when you start, we'll go through describing and discussing the lives of each one, and each one is just super excellent. So here's a nice, somebody's altar of the 6 Goswamis. It's little murtis, very similar to the painting that we saw. There they are, doing what this Sad Goswami Astaka says, that one of the things they do together is discuss topics of Krishna. There you see the background, there's the painting. In the foreground, there's these little murtis of the 6 Goswamis. And our focus is going to Rupa Goswami, who's shown with his hand on his chest, tears in his eyes, and his writing instrument in his hand. Doing exactly what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered him to do, requested him to do, and he abundantly did. And specifically about the mellows of devotional service, bhakti rasa. Again, another painting of the 2 brothers, Rupa Sanatan. Another painting of the 2 brothers, Rupa Sanatan, discussing together about Krishna under the smiling, approving glance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We saw this reference yesterday. Here it is again. Anyone desiring to become expert in science, in the service of Sri Radha and Krishna, should always aspire to be under the guidance of Sarup Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. To come under the protection of the Goswamis, one must get the mercy and grace of Nityananda Prabhu, or someone who's empowered by Nityananda Prabhu, because Nityananda Prabhu is identified in Adi Leela chapter 5, where that reference is from, as Adi Guru, and those who represent the Adi Guru give their mercy to those who wish to take shelter of the 6 Goswamis and Swarup Damodar. He is especially mentioned for many reasons, who he is, in Krishna Leela, but we saw the very nice painting yesterday of the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita going before the deity of Madan Mohan and seeking the blessings of Madan Mohan. And the deity of Madan Mohan gave his blessings in the form of giving a garland, or having a garland drop from the deity's body, which was then placed on his body. So he, Krishnadas Kaviraj, being very old at this time, as he writes, he was really old. He didn't know if he would be able to complete, but he completed. And who did he hear from? The life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He heard from Raghunath Das Goswami, who heard from Swarup Damodar, and that thus Swarup Damodar is spoken of again and again. We saw it twice yesterday, because Manashiksha is also mentioned. Swarup Damodar was the one who trained, or Raghunath Das Goswami, the Raghu of Swarup. So for the entire duration of time that Raghunath Das Goswami was in Puri, he was under the care of Swarup Damodar, who then not only knew the pastimes, because sometimes Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar were the only 2 persons who were with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his moods of ecstasy. He not only knew the pastimes, but he understood everything, the mood, the feelings, the emotion, everything, and he disclosed in confidence to this most qualified disciple. So who can say what that relationship was like? Swarup Damodar and Raghunath Das Goswami. And when Raghunath Das Goswami went to Vrindavan, he was ordered by Rupa and Sanatana to not take his life jumping from Govardhan Hill, but to sit and speak the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. All of you know these things. But they were serving in separation, and Raghunath Das was the one who was with Lord Chaitanya constantly for so many years. And we've been in separation, you've been in his presence. You can't take your life, you have to narrate what you understand and your experiences. And one of the principal persons who heard every day, was Krishnadas Kaviraj. The Bhajan Kutir place of Raghunath Das and the Bhajan Kutir place of Krishnadas Kaviraj were like 10 steps away from each other. They were so intimately connected. And he, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in his own right, highly elevated personality, highly realized personality, received this understanding from Swarup Damodar, or through Raghunath Das from Swarup Damodar. So his name is mentioned again and again. We saw this yesterday. I'm not going to read it again. It's from Gitavali. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying essentially the same. He's mentioning here Kavi Karnapur, Kavi Karnapur's father, Shivananda Sain. And remember these Vaishnavas who strictly follow the path of Rupa Goswami and who are absorbed in bhajan. If you actually want residence in the land of Braja, then you must remember all the Vaishnavas who are followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. So that this morning is Srila Rupa Goswami of the two brothers. And the way that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ends each chapter is he's praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. So the position of humility and submission is universal in spiritual life. And the two persons who he names again and again, Raghunath Das, who he heard everything from about Lord Chaitanya, and Rupa Goswami. According to Prem Vilas, Raghunath Das Goswami gave Diksha to Krishnadas Kaviraj. Here's a verse from Manashiksha, text number 3. We saw this yesterday. Here it is again. O mind, listen to me. If you desire to reside in Braja birth after birth, and if you desire to directly serve the divine youthful couple there with great attraction, then with intense love, always remember and bow down to Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami and his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, and to all their associates and followers. So Rupa and Sanatan and Swarup Damodar they're in the spotlight again and again and again for exalted devotees that are followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because they're the givers of the teachings and the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he empowered them. We heard already just this morning from Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's a number of other references to that same effect. When we have our ISKCON functions universally, there's Mangalacharana, and the first of the Mangalacharana prayers is to Rupa Goswami. And here's the verse. Let's say it together. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. We normally don't hear the translation. Here's the translation. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? We heard yesterday, here it is again, Rupa Goswami is Sri Rupa Manjari. And Sri Rupa Manjari is the principal Manjari amongst the many Manjaris who are assistants of Sri Lalita Saki. And Lalita Saki and Vishakha are the two principal amongst the so many innumerable Gopi assistants of Radha. So Rupa Manjari, or Rupa Goswami, is in that mood, and that's who he is. And so he's very, very intimate associate of Lalita and Radharani, and that's his mood. There's a nice photograph of the deities of Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan. And of course, in Radhakund Shamakund area, those are the deities that he worshipped when he stayed there. Here's a little description of Rupa Manjari. In Goloka Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani is lovingly served by 8 principal gopis, of whom Lalita Saki is her dearest friend. These intimate maidservants of Srimati Radhika are assisted by 8 main manjaris, with Sri Rupa Manjari being the leader. They please the sweet divine couple by carrying messages, preparing tasty beverages, stringing fragrant flowers, garlands, offering betel, decorating the kunjas, fanning, etc. It's just some transcendental appreciation of Rupa Manjari, who is Rupa Goswami, in Krishna Lila. Very, very special personality, Rupa Manjari. Here's a painting. At least my understanding of this painting is illustrating a verse from Padyavali where Sri Rupa Manjari is consoling Radharani, because Radharani is feeling some transcendental emotion, and Sri Rupa Manjari is helping her dear, dear, dear. Although she's the assistant of Lalita, she's consoling Radharani in this way. My dear love-blinded friend, you have already sold yourself and all your beauty to Govinda. Now you should not be bashful. Please look upon him cheerfully. One who has sold an elephant to another person should not make a miserly quarrel about selling the trident which controls the elephant. Composed by Rupa Goswami himself. Padyavali, as you know, is a compilation of many, many, many different authors. You could say is, some of his favorite glorifications and verses, and some of them are his own. This is one. It doesn't say explicitly, and I don't know of any commentary that says it explicitly, but this is my understanding. It's Sri Rupa Manjari consoling Radha. Some might say it's Lalita consoling Radha. From a book by Kavi Karnapur, Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka, that's quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. Here's a nice description of Rupa Goswami, whose dear friend was Swarup Damodar, was the exact replica of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was very, very dear to the Lord. Being the embodiment of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love, Rupa Goswami was naturally very beautiful. He very carefully followed the principles enunciated by the Lord, and he was a competent person to explain properly the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expanded his mercy to Srila Rupa Goswami just so that he could render service by writing transcendental literatures. I wish I had been on time. I got mixed up this morning about time. Getting foggy in older age, I guess. It happens, right? Sometimes. This is Srila Prabhupada in Srimad Bhagavatam class, spoken in Los Angeles, 1972. The Back to Godhead banner is drawn from a writing of Rupa Goswami, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati, to be absorbed in the mellow taste of executing devotional service to Krishna. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. So Prabhupada revealed in this particular lecture that the Back to Godhead magazine name, and of course there's the banner, comes from Rupa Goswami's writings. We have the fingerprints of Rupa Goswami are all over the place. There's the verse from Padyavali. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained only by paying one price, the intense greed to obtain it. Pure devotional service. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without any delay. From Padyavali. So this is our Rupa Goswami who was in that mood. The explanation is his, the mood is his, and unstoppable, untiring, unceasing dedication to fulfill the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What does your license plate say? Jai, GKG? Yeah, I know what GKG means. From one of GKG's disciples, I heard the following. Same as what's here. This is Prabhupada speaking in Gopal Krishna Maharaj's presence, because Prabhupada at one time, I wasn't there, I can't verify if this would happen, but Prabhupada was visiting in New York, and he looked very tired, like worn. So the devotees said, can you take some rest? Not far away is the Gitanagari farm. You like it very much. Can you just spend some time in Gitanagari and get a little relaxed? And the report is that from Gopal Krishna Maharaj that Prabhupada said, please don't deprive me of my opportunity to make sacrifices for Krishna. You've heard that one? You've heard that one too. Okay. So it's now two of you. Tirelessly, unceasingly, abundantly giving and fulfilling the instructions. So here's a little biographical information of their first meeting, 35 years old, where this message came back. We discussed this yesterday. Rupa and Sanatan had written. Of course, Sanatan is the elder brother. And they wrote letters. We don't like this service of Nawab Hussain Shah. Please liberate us from this circumstance. And Mahaprabhu, several messengers sent. Finally, a reply came back that said, cryptic, and because who knows who's going to intercept this message. So it was just in codes. Become just like a wife who is attracted to another man and will perform her worldly duties to her husband very nicely so he doesn't suspect. So the internal cultivation of bhakti while engaging in our external duties in this world. It's Ragamarg. But in her mind, she will always be thinking of the other man, waiting for the chance to meet him. So here's the two brothers, Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik. Dabir Khas, the personal secretary to Nawab. Who is this mendicant that came here to Ramakeli? The Supreme Personality of Godhead who gave you this kingdom and whom you accept as a prophet has taken birth in your country due to your good fortune. This prophet always desires your good fortune. By his grace, all your business is successful. By his blessings, you will attain victory everywhere. Don't harm him, please. A little bit of the history. It actually goes back to the grandfather, not just the father, but there are some details from the government that at that time, Sultanate of Bengal was assassinated in 1487 by one of his own guards. And so this Sultanate of Bengal was replaced by a Mughal empire. And because the father was the private secretary of that previous person, it continued on, Rupa and Sanatan, because they were so expert, it's described, that they were placed in even higher positions than their father. So Dabir Khas became the personal secretary. Sakram Malik became the chief minister. And Anupam, their third brother, became the treasurer. So they got their hands on the government. So that the Nawab can go off and conquer new territories. The government's going on very nicely. It's very practical. It's something like, anyway, without going into it too much, if the people are peaceful, then he could rule and extract taxes and do his thing. So it's like, the system of the landholder giving land to somebody to take care of for agriculture and pay taxes from the production from the land. That was the system. And the more he could keep the people peaceful, gave him the opportunity for military conquest to expand his kingdom. So we're duplicating some steps. The two met in Ramakeli at night in a solitary place. They're offering their obeisances, obviously, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is appearing as a mendicant sannyasi, and they're in their government attire. In Bhakti Ratnakar, there's this description. Through Haridas Thakur, the Lord taught forbearance. Through Rupa and Sanatan, he taught humility. So they were epitome of humility. And many other nice qualities, but the starting one is humility. And with that, as there is a description. I just saw something from Hari Parshad Prabhu. He is in the process of translating a book about Krishna that Rupa Goswami wrote before they met Lord Chaitanya. Meaning, we heard this yesterday, but he, Sanatan and Rupa, were thoroughly trained in the Srimad Bhagavatam and devotional texts before they met Lord Chaitanya. They weren't rookies. They were very advanced souls spiritually. And what a compromised situation being in Nawab Hussain Shah's government, running the show so he can go off and conquer new places. Really compromised. I've not read anything that says after they both left the government service, and Anupam as well, what happened, what did Nawab do to the people that they were governing? Because he was a wicked guy. I've never read anything what happened. There's probably some history somewhere. So here's Chaitanya Charitamrita's language of what they said to Lord Chaitanya. Sir, we belong to the lowest class of men, and our associates and employment are also of the lowest type. Therefore, we cannot introduce ourselves to you. We feel very much ashamed standing here before you. Dear Lord, let us inform you, this is their humility, that no one is more sinful than us, nor is there any offender like us. Even if we wanted to mention our sinful activities, we would immediately become ashamed. And what to speak of giving them up? Dear Lord, you have incarnated to deliver the fallen souls. You should consider that in this world there is none so fallen as us. We are millions and millions of times inferior to Jagai and Madhai. We are more degraded, fallen, and sinful than they. Actually, we belong to the caste of meat-eaters because we are servants of meat-eaters. Indeed, our activities are exactly like those of meat-eaters because we always associate with such people. We are inimical towards the cows and brahmanas. Due to our abominable activities, we are bound by the neck and hands and have been thrown into the ditch filled with abominable stool-like objects of material sense enjoyment. It's, maha humble. And that's the starting point. I mean, eminently qualified and abjectly humble. That's a rare combination. So here's a description of humility. Wise men define dainya, utter humility, as the state in which one always thinks oneself exceptionally incapable and low, even when endowed with all excellences. That's a nice definition. Dainya, at its most exalted manifestation, comes forth when prema, pure love of God, reaches full maturity. So this is a footnote. It says dainya is receiving the Lord's special favor. Beyond the regular sense of humility. When utter, this is now Brihat Bhagavatamrita reference. When utter humility, dainya, fully matures, prema unfolds without limit. And so we see dainya and prema acting in a relationship in which each is both cause and effect. Beautiful. I mean, Brihat Bhagavatamrita is a very elevated literature, most elevated literature, but it's describing the qualification for prema, and here's one of them. And Rupa and Sanatan had that even at the get-go when they first met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they're fit receptacles or recipients of that gift which Lord Chaitanya came to give to the world, and he gave it to these two brothers. He changed their names. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, your humility, abandon your humility, for my heart is breaking to see you so humble. You have written several letters showing your humility. I can understand your behavior from those letters. Because they had, through messenger, there wasn't a postal system. They were in government office, so they had privileges, and they exercised one of those by sending messengers to Puri, because they heard of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although they hadn't met. They could have written anything, but the essence of what they wrote is, please release us from this circumstance we're in. No, they could just gotten up and walked. But Nawab Hussain Shah could have done anything. So please release us. It is said in this biographical section that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Diksha to them both. He not only changed their name, but gave Diksha to both. And then Lord Chaitanya said, I really had no need to come to Bengal, but I came anyway, just to see the two of you. Now there's no mention of Anupam, but these two. No one knows my purpose. And so people ask me why I have come to this village of Ramakeli. I'm very glad that you've come to see me. Now you can go home. Do not fear anything. You have been my servants in life after life, so Krishna will deliver you very soon. Saying this, the Lord placed his hands on the heads of Rupa and Sanatan, and they immediately took the Lord's lotus feet and placed them on their heads, from their hand to his feet. And there were associates that were traveling, heading for Vrindavan, and here's some of the names amongst the thousands that were with him. Nityananda, Haridas, Srivas, Gadadhar, Mukunda, Jagatananda, Murari, Vikreshwara, and his other associates. So one of the glorifications that comes about Rupa Goswami was his exemplary distribution of wealth. So when he left, and with Anupam, their third brother, he took the boatloads, plural, of gold coins to his ancestral home. We saw that in the little map yesterday. It just says Bengal. There's Chandradweep is the place. And he distributed, as we know, 50%, 25%, 25%. And then from there, he went to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How are you going to find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walking by foot? Where are you going to look? He had a good radar system or something. Because they came together at Prayag, at the Shashvamedha Ghat, and for 10 days, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami by this particular ghat along the bank of the river. This instruction is known as Rupa Shiksha, and from this instruction, he gave him the essence of bhakti, the process of bhakti, and instructed him to write Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And then sent him from there to Vrindavan. And saying, you stay in Vrindavan, that's your new home. And after some time you can come see me. Here's Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Rupa Goswami the ultimate limit of the truth about Krishna, the truth about devotional service, and the truth about transcendental mellows, culminating in conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. Finally, he told Rupa Goswami about the ultimate conclusions of Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, it's written, these are conclusions I heard from Ramananda Roy. And he, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, duly empowered Rupa Goswami to understand everything. By entering into the heart of Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered him to ascertain properly the conclusions of all truths. He made him an experienced devotee whose decisions correctly agree with the verdicts of the disciplic succession. Thus, Sri Rupa Goswami was personally empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's abundantly clear, said over and over and over. I mean, and why not? Because Lord Chaitanya came with a mission, And it was the chanting of the holy name and also teachings. And although it's not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, it's his teachings, meaning he wanted them to write his teachings. And so he thoroughly instructed them, empowered them to understand. I'm just saying it again because it's awesome. The conclusive truth about everything, to realize it fully, and empower them to write it. It's several times it's confirmed. Again, Madhya Lila. Rupa Goswami, whose dear friend was Swarup Damodar, was the exact replica of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was very, very dear to the Lord, being the embodiment of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love. Rupa Goswami was naturally very beautiful. He very carefully followed the principles enunciated by the Lord. And he was a competent person to explain properly the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So, nice painting, Rupa and Sanatan sitting together, and in their hearts and in their minds and in their writings, expressing the teachings about Lord Chaitanya's teachings about Radha and Krishna loving dealings in Vrindavan. Then another place where we hear, after Prayag, we hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Prayag meeting Srila Vallabhacharya. And when Vallabhacharya comes to meet with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami and his brother Anupam, they're at a distance paying obeisances, just laying flat on the ground. And Vallabhacharya wants to know, who are these two? We are lowly, untouchables. You should not contaminate yourself by touching us. They then sat down at a certain distance. I mean, humility and humility and humility and humility and humility. Extreme humility. It wasn't sometimes. So it's not that they lost that, Rupa Goswami lost that humility, it's just part of his character. There's this nice discussion when Rupa Goswami saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departing by boat, he fainted on the ground. Lord Chaitanya's instructions: your duty is to carry out my order. Later you can go from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri through Bengal. Then you will meet me again. So there he goes. 1 month he stayed in Vrindavan. That was all the separation he could bear. He immediately went through Bengal with his brother Anupam. And during the journey, Anupam died. And he remained in Puri for 10 months with Mahaprabhu. In the course of his travel, he was in his mind composing a drama about Krishna. You know this. And so, as he was passing through a place in Orissa, Satyabhamapur, he had a dream in which Satyabhama appeared to him and instructed him to make 2 dramas, one with her, Krishna outside of Vrindavan, the other with Krishna inside Vrindavan. And so he did. Lalita Madhava then had his companion, Vidagdha Madhava. One of my favorite verses, many of you know the verse, this is from Vidagdha Madhava. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, describing the chanting of the holy name, Krishna. So I haven't memorized the Sanskrit, but I know the English. 3 parts. The glories of the name, the mouth making the sound, the ear hearing the sound, and the heart receiving the sound. It's a sequence of chanting. The glories of the holy name, the mouth making, or the tongue making the sound of the name, the ears hearing the name, and the final. When the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. This is the domino effect of proper hearing. Vidakta Madhava by Rupa Goswami. Every single day, like Haridas Thakur, Rupa Goswami, considering himself unfit, never went into the temple. He stayed with Haridas, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day sent Govinda, his personal servant, to have prasad from Jagannath temple be brought to Rupa Goswami. 9:18. I came late and read these nice verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita, so it's late, I'm sorry. But I'll keep going. In Madhya Leela chapter 1, this is a nice painting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing in front of Jagannath. And he kept repeating over and over and over and over and over and over and over a verse in ecstasy. Mahaprabhu recited a verse when dancing in front of Lord Jagannath. Almost, with the exception of Rupa Goswami, almost no one could understand the meaning of that verse. And here's the verse from Padyavali. It's like a cinema song. That very personality who stole away my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights in the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of malati flowers is there. And the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva, under the Vitasi tree. That is my desire. So it's the mood of the residents of Vrindavan in Kurukshetra, seeing Krishna in Kurukshetra, but it's not the same as being with Krishna in Vrindavan. They want to bring Krishna to Vrindavan. That's Rath Yatra, from Jagannath temple to go to the Gundicha. So it's Mahaprabhu speaking this verse again and again and again while he's dancing and dancing and dancing. So Rupa Goswami understood, because most people didn't understand, but he's had the empowerment to understand. So he composed a companion verse. My dear friend, now I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra. I'm the same Radharani. And now we're meeting together. It is very pleasant, but still I would like to go to the bank of the Jamuna, beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the 5th note within that forest of Vrindavan. He composed privately that verse, the pastime. And he put the verse, when he went to do his midday duties, in the the thatched roof of his little place. And when Lord Chaitanya came and saw that verse sticking out of the thatched roof, he pulled it out of the thatched roof and he read it. And he was amazed. How did he understand my mind? And here he's disclosing. He bestowed the power to Rupa Goswami to understand his mind, and to understanding his mind and mood to preach the bhakti cult. There's where Rupa Goswami paying obeisances while Mahaprabhu was reading the verse. This is from Antya Lila. We read. Rupa Goswami remained for 10 months in Puri, and after those 10 months, we saw that yesterday in the map, when he left Puri, he headed north. They went to go to Bengal, where Chandrapur, where his relatives were residing, and gave his association to them. He is a renunciate. He's not connected to his family, yet he's kind to his family. And when he left Puri, it was only 10 days between when he left and when Sanatana Goswami arrived. And then when Rupa Goswami returned back to Vrindavan, he stayed there for the rest of his life. Here's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. Before the creation of this cosmic manifestation, the Lord enlightened the heart of Lord Brahma with the details of the creation and manifested the Vedic knowledge in exactly the same way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. He invested in Rupa Goswami's heart the conclusive truths, empowered him to write those conclusive truths and the moods of love of the residents of Vrindavan, and then to spread it. Now, to spread it throughout the world is what he said, but he made Vrindavan his residence. He wrote his books, and then his books were meant to be distributed. That's what we do. We're also meant to read the books. And we may visit Vrindavan. Some persons live in Vrindavan. But we're whether it's in Vrindavan or visiting Vrindavan, learning the message of Krishna's love and the residents of Vrindavan, their love for Krishna. That's Rupa Goswami. It's the path of regulative followed by spontaneous love for Krishna. Here's an explanation of one of Rupa Goswami's books, Upadesh Amrita. It's described in this way. We learn from the diary of Govinda, the personal servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that prior to returning to his unmanifest eternal pastime, Mahaprabhu remained in a highly inflamed mood of separation. Sometimes only Srup Damodar and Ramananda Roy would be with him. They would try to pacify him by singing verses to augment his mood. So this is a painting showing he was running towards Chatak Parvat, the little sand dune, and in the dead of night, there's his servant and the two, Srup Damodar and Ramananda Roy. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting with his devotees on the shore of the ocean, hearing Krishna Katha, seeing the dense grove of trees lining the shore of the ocean and the sand dunes, remembrance of Govardhan Hill and the Jamuna River, with many beautiful gardens and groves situated on her banks, sprang up inside him. He then began weeping in separation from Krishna. When his excitement subsided and he became peaceful, he instructed the assembled devotees in a soft, sweet voice. Srila Rupa Goswami wrote Sri Upadesh Amrita verses based on these instructions. It's certainly otherworldly. The instructions are very elevated, but the context is pretty amazing also. Here's something here, Prabhupada's emphasizing the importance of reading these literatures. Here's the 16 principal books of Rupa Goswami. It's a nice long list. Other than these 16, Upadesh Amrita, Namastaka, Siddhanta Ratna, etc. Over 100,000 verses. Because we just observed this nice description of Govardhan. He wrote in 8 verses glorifying Govardhan. Maybe some of you recited it or remembered it or heard it or something. It's a detail, but we heard from Chaitanya Charitamrita the first thing this morning. He knew the details and details and details of the rules of composing drama. And there's those who are accomplished in Sanskrit know, according to the number of syllables, there's different meters by which something can be recited. And Mata Mayura is the meter for the prayer that describes the peacocks dancing like in madness on the side of Govardhan Hill. Here's a little photograph. You're a popular guy. Here's a photograph of Rupa Goswami's handwriting. He wrote pretty small letters. The writings, it's described when Srila Prabhupada accepted residence, there was an invitation by Gaurchand Goswami, kind of encouraged by Vishvambar Goswami, to invite Prabhupada to stay in the 2 rooms at the Radha Damodar temple. And one of the things that was encouraged Prabhupada to accept this invitation was Jiva Goswami had been entrusted with the original writings of all the Goswamis. He had persons making copies of it, but the originals from which the copies were made were at the Radha Damodar temple. And they weren't being cared for nicely. But Prabhupada had access to it even when they weren't being cared for nicely. And this is one of those. So later, to preserve the original writings of the Goswamis, not just Jiva Goswamis, but all the Goswamis, because he was the one who kept all that library. It was then transferred to this place where they knew how to preserve the originals, and this is where this photograph is taken from. The originals. We all know the story. We discussed it briefly yesterday. Same painting, celebrated painting. Rupa Goswami writing at Ter Kadamba from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, And along the path, Radharani came bringing these ingredients, and he made sweet rice for his brother, Sanatana Goswami. We heard the description yesterday. As he was writing at this place, at Terkadamba, it said when his mood was so intense, when he would recite something or read something, there was a mood of separation. The trees from the Kadamba tree would fall to the ground. And then he would describe meeting, and the trees, the leaves on the trees would manifest, just boom. Very powerful personality. This place he selected was for a variety of reasons. One of those variety of reasons, it was a meeting place. Because the residence of Krishna, or the palace of Krishna, was at Nandagram, and you go from Nandagram to where Radharani was, in Yavat, and it's somewhere in between, so it was a meeting place. Here's some photographs of Kadamba trees. There's one on the left, and the Kadamba flowers are these little round balls. That's the Kadamba flower. And in a grove of what remains as Kadamba trees, this is the deities of Krishna Balaram that were established by a sadhu some years ago. And just above the altar in Sanskrit is a verse written by Raghunath Das Goswami. It's one of Dinabandhu's favorite verses that he loves reciting and really gets in the mood of reciting it. And it's Raghunath Das Goswami expressing his complete, absolute dedication to Rupa Goswami. Taking a blade of grass between my teeth, Adana Stranandantire, I repeatedly beg that birth after birth may obtain the dust from Rupa Goswami's lotus feet. Srimad Rupa Padam Bhojo Rajoham Syam Bhave Bhave. This is one of his writings, Danakeli Chintamani. That's what's on that sign. That's above the altar of Krishna Balaram at the Terkadamba Grove, which was Rupa Goswami's, one of Rupa Goswami's principal places for writing and being away from the hubbub of Vrindavan. Almost the same in Mukta Charitram is just ends the same. It ends slightly differently. Duli Syam Janma Janmani. So Rupa Goswami was the object of dedication and devotion of Raghunath Das Goswami, along with Swarup Damodar, of course. Here's the Bhajan Kutir place of Rupa Goswami. At least this is what it looked like some time ago, and they built up a whole bunch of things in that area, so not exactly the way it used to look. Bhaktisiddhanta wrote, and it happened, the eternal associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can show themselves to us if they choose to do so. And there's a nice description of Rupa Goswami chose to do so. He gave his darshan to Srila Prabhupada before his coming to America. And it's spoken about a couple of times. Maharaj, don't worry about anything. Go ahead and travel to the West and preach. Just preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the chanting of Hare Krishna. You'll be successful, I guarantee, because I will be right with you all the time. Now, this is a testimonial from the Vrindavan Research Institute, where the original writings of the Goswamis are kept. And this Gopal Chandra Ghosh tells the story. Swami Maharaj said he had received a visit last night. In the courtyard of Srila Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, he saw 3 very beautiful persons. One was wearing only kopin and was chanting a large Tulsi mala around his neck. His eyes were large, like lotus flowers, and he was extremely effulgent. Also coming there was another personality, dressed similarly, but older and taller, who acted very kindly to him. Behind them was a much younger sadhu, whose beauty and sweetness were captivating. Swami Maharaj told me they were Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, and their nephew, Srila Jiva Goswami. He said they spoke to him and gave him mercy and guidance for his writing and for his future preaching. I tried to ask more, but this is all he would tell me. So there's Rupa Goswami underneath a Kadamba tree, chanting. Here's his deity of Radha Govinda, and by Shyamakund, Radhakund, same deities, dressed in a different day. Here is Rupa Goswami's Govindaji deity now in Jaipur. Much nice history. We didn't go into the much nice history because of time. And look closely at his lotus feet, because here's a close-up of his lotus feet. And here's a close-up of his lotus face. And nice song, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. Glorification by successor acharyas and Rupa Goswami. Last slide. Yes. Microphone isn't on. Okay, try now.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's on.
you mentioned the Back to Godhead slogan and the masthead of the magazine.
Yes.
But I didn't hear the. Oh. The connection. Okay, now it's on. I didn't hear the connection between you recited a couple of verses, but I didn't see, what was the connection with the Back to Godhead?
Prabhupada said in a lecture in Los Angeles in 1972 that from a verse of Rupa Goswami is where he drew the slogan or the title, Back to Godhead. That was the connection.
What was the verse? Or did anyone ever find out?
Yeah, I showed it on the screen. You want to go back and see the verse?
I saw the verse, but I didn't see any mention of Back to Godhead.
It says he drew the concept from
Okay.
that verse.
Okay.
So you can,
All right.
Krishna Bhavita.
Guru Maharaj, I heard that verse is based on which he actually titled ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I heard that multiple times. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita.
Okay, I just took what I said from a transcription of a lecture and he gave in Los Angeles in 1972. It may have been said some other time, some other place, I don't know. I can't attest to that. I can attest to what I read, a transcription of a class Prabhupada gave. Yeah.
In the Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhava, is that the name of the book?
Yes.
There's an appendix section with some articles from the harmonist, and in one of the articles, Bhakti Siddhanta writes, "Back to home, back to Godhead is the mission of the Gaudiya Math." I saw that. I noticed that. So maybe Srila Prabhupada meant ISKCON and said back to Godhead. Anyway, just brought it up.
Anything else?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. A few things which kind of came to me as I was listening to your presentation. Thank you very much for illustrating Sri Rupa Goswami's life for us. About humility, one thing, there's three things which came up, so I'm just, because I was writing, so I'm
Okay.
repeating. About humility, I've heard it being said that don't think less of oneself, but think of yourself less. That is like the way to cultivate humility.
That's it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because
Okay.
people start feeling like, I'm so bad, I'm so low, I'm so low. So in reference to that, think yourself less. Don't think less of yourself, but think of yourself less. So that's something which I kind of remember. And the other thing, you're talking about internal cultivation of bhakti. I heard a practical, like, while engaged in your day-to-day activities, a practical, you can say a tool that when you're, you're at work or whatever, so maybe every 10 or 15 minutes, you kind of just pause and just chant the Maha Mantra. And I've seen that it really makes a difference. I mean, I've seen myself sometimes when I actually remember, just chant the Maha Mantra either quietly or if you can say loudly, and just the mood changes and your consciousness changes when I'm at work. So that's it's very, very helpful to remember Krishna as you are doing your daily work. And about when you showed the feet of Radha Govind, of Govindji, there is I'm not sure where I heard it, but we know that the Lord's feet have got thunderbolt on them. So when we meditate on the Lord's lotus feet, I'm not sure where this verse is from, but that the Lord's thunderbolt can destroy the Mount Meru-like sinful reactions which are situated in my heart. So we pray to the lotus feet of the Lord that please destroy that Mount Meru-like sinful reactions which are sitting in my heart. So that's something which I try to meditate every morning when I
Even
sleep.
if he didn't have thunderbolts on his feet.
Even if he didn't have thunderbolt. Yeah. And thank you, Maharaj. And I wanted to ask one question. You said you talked about Pratham Govardhan Ashtakam of Shri Rupa Goswami.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us the one Ashtakam, which would be so nice to hear, and maybe I can write it down and meditate on it.
You want me to recite one of the 8? Is that what you're asking?
At least, yeah, because you mentioned that, but there was no Ashtakam.
I'd have to look it up. I've heard it many, many, many times, but I haven't memorized it, so I can't recite it.
Is it the one, Namaste Giri Rajaya?
No.
It's not that.
No. Da 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 da. That's the melody. And that's the Mata Mayura meter for reciting the verse, the Ashtaka. And in the verse itself, the second line of the verse is the phrase Mata Mayura. Mayura is a peacock, and Mata means intoxicated. So as an intoxicated peacock moves on the side of Govardhan Hill, that's the meter for reciting the verse, the Ashtaka. I mean, the whole thing is poetic. But now you know what the verse is. You can look it up. It's send me a note as a reminder, little text message, and I'll send you the recording of that Ashtaka being recited by a nice devotee singer in that meter and melody. Okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. We saw that a verse in the beginning of the class this morning that states, without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, one cannot get the mercy of the 6 Goswamis. So I'm wondering how can we get the mercy of Lord Nityananda?
From those who are empowered by Lord Nityananda. Guru Tattva is a representative or representation of Lord Nityananda. Those who are performing that service, it's not just the Diksha Gurus in the Hare Krishna movement, it's a principle. The one who is acting as a representative of Lord Nityananda can give the mercy needed to approach the 6 Goswamis. So that's how you do it today.
Thank you. Can I comment on Mataji's statement that at work, that when she remembers Krishna,
She tries to remember Krishna.
so it causes me to, what she said, to recall a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 14.1, which states that if one remembers the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whatever is, all difficult things become easy to perform. And if one forgets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything's become difficult.
Okay, we have some relishers of the topics of Krishna in the audience. You want to contribute to this discussion? Our host, I'm inviting you. You're a thoughtful Prabhu. I'm sure you have something you can contribute to our discussion. Put you on the hot seat.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for a wonderful class. I was just meditating on, for me, the most difficult thing is humility. The most complicated subject matter to understand. Because we see Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami being very humble in front of Mahaprabhu. Extremely humble. So humility always kind of confuses me. What is humility? Because they were humble, but at the same time they were functioning at such a high level for Mahaprabhu, writing books and doing all sorts of activities, building temples, while staying humble. So how can we stay, like even we see with Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, how he was humble, but still at the age of 90 or above 90, he wrote the book. So how can we stay humble, but at the same time still be able to serve our Guru, serve the mission, serve Prabhupada in a way that we can do more and more, but still stay humble? Because in a general day-to-day life, I feel that very difficult. Somehow or other you can be offending devotees. Somehow or other you could be doing something because you're still so conditioned that you could be not humble in many cases, and you never know you're humble or not, or it doesn't matter. For humble people, they don't care, like they're just humble. But it's complicated. In my mind, it's very complicated.
I recommend that you take a look at Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songs, Sharanagati songs, because he introduces, it's not the same sequence, but he introduces Sharanagati songs with Dainya. And there's 8 verses, if I remember. It's expressions of Dainya. So that's a good starting point or entry point into more deeply understanding, because one of the ways that Bhaktivinoda Thakur taught the masses of people in Bengal was through song, because they liked to sing. So they could sing and sing and sing and sing. So songs would help them receive the message. So the message of surrender starts with Dainya. So your question specifically is how to understand what can be seen as a complex subject. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a great, great acharya, and he can help us. It can be reduced to something simple. Reduced to something simple is we're very tiny, in fact. It's just reality. We're very tiny. I'll do it quickly, but I was told by Satsrup Maharaj that the same question you're asking is the question that Brahmananda asked Prabhupada in New York City. And Prabhupada gave the same answer to Karandar in Los Angeles. Same answer. Same question. It goes like this. Quickly. There's a more elaborate version. In the vastness of the spiritual sky, there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, one of which is Krishna Loka, that's much larger than all the others, shaped like a lotus. And within that vastness of the spiritual sky, where there's unlimited Vaikuntha planets, there's a cloud in one corner of that vastness of the spiritual sky. And it keeps going. And in that vastness of that spiritual sky, where there's a small cloud, there's a portion of a plenary portion of the personality of God who expands as Mahavishnu. And from the body of Mahavishnu, unlimited universes are generated, and within each universe, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters, and from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu comes a stem and lotus. Atop of the lotus is Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma creates all the planets within the universe, and of all the planets in the universe, there's this one planet, Earth. And this planet Earth, there are 7 continents. In the 7 continents, there's one called North America. In North America, there's a number of countries. One of them is the United States. In the United States, there's one state called New York or Florida. And, it's like that. In Florida, there's this little place called Alachua. In Alachua, there's so many people, and there's one little guy saying, "How do I remain humble?" We're quite insignificant. 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. But depending upon the relationship and the humility factor of recognizing who we really are in relation to the Supreme Great, power can be invested from the Supreme Great to that tiny. And so if somebody does something, if you can do something, whatever that something is that you do, where's the power coming from? It's not you. So that's just a reality check of reality. So how do we remain humble? Just connect with reality. The difficulty is there's illusion that's covering reality. And so we are out of touch with reality. But it's just reality. And yet we're meant, as tiny as we are, we're being invited to serve Krishna. That's mercy. So it's staying in tune with mercy and takes the covering away, and then you can stay humble. Even when doing something, using the examples you gave, Krishnadas Kaviraj, and it's such an age, and et cetera, Prabhupada doing what he did. But just like that quote, his sacrifice for Krishna. And that makes one significant. But if that sense of serving and sacrificing will dissipate if one leaves the position of humility. So one who is humble can act very strongly and humbly at the same time. Because it's not you, it's service is being done by the grace of the all-powerful. And Srimati Radharani. I think we'll end. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai.